I'm Arthur Black. Welcome to Weird Homes, a show that looks at the most unusual and bizarre homes in North America. You know, it's a fact of life. The vast majority of North Americans make their homes in cities. But that doesn't mean there isn't life outside the city limits. And today we're going to prove it to you. Our first stop, a cattle ranch outside Tombstone, Arizona. We're going for the big roundup. But it's not dogies we're after. It's relics. Relics and rattlesnakes. Next, we'll drop in on a converted farmhouse in Kansas. True, they've got horses in the corral, but they've also got rockets on the patio and bumper cars in the kitchen. Finally, we'll whisk you to Maine and a farm that is dotted with shrines. Oh yeah, there's a lot more to country living than fresh air. Let's take a look.
Again, the dogs were like spaces. Well, looks like what we've got is a stuffed snake. This is a western diamondback rattlesnake, and it's a large one. And the pose that he's in is probably a good pose, a realistic pose, except that they wouldn't have their mouths open. The only time they open their mouth is when they're biting and in the act of biting. We both quit our jobs and decided that we wanted to live kind of like a vagabond life in Arizona. So Sandy and I just picked up everything and gave most of our stuff to our kids and moved out here. And it's been an interesting experiment ever since.
And it was against the advice of all our friends.
And our parents.
Nobody thought we would ever make it.
First thing our parents said was, you know, where's your insurance? You know, what are you going to do with no life insurance, no health insurance, and all your salaries are gone, you know. And we ended up just making a few dollars, catching a few snakes, but we had lots of fun. This is our rattlesnake crash shop, where we have, maybe 150 or more different items made from rattlesnake skin and bones and rattles and fangs and heads.
And here's the rattle, and most people think they have little beads in them. They don't. It's strictly an action like this. They're called keratin. It's the same kind of thing your fingernails are made out of. And when they shake it really loud, it'll sound like a buzz of a bee more than it will a rattle.
When people came to buy our snake stuff, we used to have a suitcase with snake stuff in it, rattlesnake crass, and they'd come and buy a few things out of the suitcase. But it seemed like they were more interested in the stuff that we had collected around the edge of the trailer than they were our rattlesnake stuff. So we kind of caught on to that after a while, and we started in a major way collecting things.
That's part of the story. The other part is we noticed that women spend money and men usually don't. And so in order to keep the men happy while the women were inside spending money, we collected all this stuff for them to look at so they wouldn't be out there honking the horns for their wives to come out of the trailer.
These are branding irons that we picked up from different neighbors and ranchers around the area. And we also pick up a lot of these old rusty guns. Most of these we found by digging in the Tombstone junkyard. It's over 150 years or so old, and who knows, some of them might have been owned by Wyatt Earp or Doc Holliday or whoever, you know.
It might not look like it to you, but it is sort of organized into sections. And this is the toy section. And we're not sure why things like toboggans and bobsleds wind up in Arizona, but they're here. And now we're over in one of my favorite sections, the laundry section. The fact that people really use these things that weigh tons are amazing. Some of them, like this one here, you put charcoal inside of it, and the charcoal would then heat. This is an early steam iron here, and it had a little gas engine on it. We have a rufflers. These were what they used to iron all the ruffles.
This is our cowboy section in here where we have a lot of old Western things. And as you can see, we've got tongs that were used by the old-time blacksmith. In addition to anvils, these are some stirrups, pretty fancy ones. And these are horn cutters that were used by the ranchers back in the old days to cut the longhorns off so they wouldn't be so dangerous. Over the last 23 years, we must have had maybe 50 or 60 couples come out here that are just interested in the way we're living now. And of course, they are just amazed by it. You know, no three-piece suit, no necktie. I haven't worn a necktie since I married Sandy.
Oh, these little, look at how much bluer the ones in the shade are, though, and the ones out in the sun. The ones that sit here, a whole shelf collapsed, John. I guess we need to do something about it.
And we always thought that we could go back to work. But after a year or so, there was no thought of going back to work. You know, we had gotten so lazy that being lazy was our lifestyle, and that was forever to be. And here we are 23 years later, and there's no regrets.
Philosophy, if that's what it is, was just more something that we together appreciated and liked, and something that was fun, unusual.
We kind of have a pact that we can't do anything unless the other one agrees. So
I live up to that pact easy, a lot more than he does.
The zoning commission keeps coming by and peering in, and we have a booth over here, and we have some cooking facilities that look kind of industrial. And they call me and they ask me what kind of a business we're running, and they keep wanting to tax us for something that's not here. But we refuse to take this off. We're going to leave the hours on, even though nobody gets in. There's no reservations. But,
little do they know that we don't even cook for each other.
This is kind of where the little old house ends and the little new house begins. But we had this was a shed porch right here, and we tore it down. We had it completely gutted and then built it up and then out. And now that we doubled the size, it could probably fit in most people's living rooms, but it's still a tiny house. There used to be a theme park in Kansas City called Fairyland Park years and years ago that we all used to go to when we were teens. And it closed down in the 60s. Jeff Wilson, he got these bumper cars and totally restored them.
So who knows how many people we know actually maybe sat in this.
Inside, I keep my collection of drive-in speakers. But,
old drive-in speakers.
Yeah, some of which we always used to kind of drive off and forget that they were on the windows, and sometimes we ended up with them. I kind of got into the seltzer thing. There are some pretty good seltzers inside. I've got a barn full of them outside. If anybody's interested in any seltzer bottles, I've got a lot of them cheap. Now we're going from the new part to the old part. This is this urn here. That's my urn, and I'm going to be in that whenever that time comes. We're going to find a kind of a vacuum-formed sealed top to put on it. These ray guns, Freddie realized that I really loved this one, and she got that for me for my birthday, and the rest of them just sort of accrued. You didn't build, you just build out and have 3 kitchens instead of 2.
We first off just started with every home building book that they had.
See,
and
we
some
just
were
keep
just
pulling.
like home mechanics up to Architectural Digest. And then every time we found something we liked, we just tore it out and put it in a file. And we have files here on kitchens, windows, floors,
kitchens,
porches, bathrooms, bathroom
and
floors.
there's another we got a stack maybe this tall. That's more of it upstairs. We never throw this stuff
isn't
away.
Even everything. It doesn't work for everybody, and everyone probably wouldn't be comfortable here, but it's fun and we like it. And we get good reactions from people. Even I think people that wouldn't want to live here come in and they like to see all the different kinds of things that we have.
I feel lucky. You do? I think you're feeling lucky. Let's see what's happening here. Here are 5.
I got these beautiful logs given to me, and I just put them on the stone wall. They're like teeter-tottering on the stone wall, like a teeter-totter, rather than how you would generally build from the outside. And they have these like kind of outrigger things kind of holding them steady. So it's a real new type of architecture that I'm, I'm experimenting with. So come on in. Welcome to my house of the gods. And what do I do when I come in here, you probably think? Well, I like to sit around a lot and communicate with the gods. And what do they like? They like music, you know, especially this bugle music. And so I'll just sit here and then I'll just work out on these bugles for a really special Tibetan effect. I really like to mix in all the different belief structures. I hope it'll magically, like, actually do something to make things a little better on the religious wars front.
This is Fang's shrine, and he moved in on he had the whole landing eventually. He kind of moved in and just began to encrust this area, and it just loaded with all kinds of images. One of the first sort of encrusted shrines I think he made that was not just a single piece, but kind of a conglomerate that could go on forever. I love what he does. I absolutely love it. Sometimes I say, I don't want it, to kind of come on top of me and sort of bury me. I hold on to some space that keep it kind of neutral.
So this makes a really handy sort of repository for a lot of our things. I like mystery in a lot of art, so it's interactive and I'll cover things up. I like a lot of things that reflect light, that's gotta be good. And Christmas kind of baubles, they're very excellent. Elvis, he's like one of our all-time new sort of modern saint, I would say, and he dresses up like the Infant of Prague. If you're a kid and you see this, it's like, I just can't imagine the wonderment. It's like Christmas every day when you come over or something. So this is kind of a thing I did for my mother, and so there's a lot of stuff in there she liked. These poodles, those glasses, she needed those glasses, stuff like that. This is a great collection I have of things I've got from farms, abandoned farms around here. And I really have a lot of reverence for this old metal. It fed people, the machinery fed people, and then it just gets abandoned. I think it should be sort of venerated. I love the rust. It never sleeps. I wish I could get away with that. You know, I'd be doing so much more. You gotta love that. Yeah.
Oh. These are pretty nice things. You think you could use that?
I don't know.
The only thing I do is bring home knickknacks.
And she has a super eye. Sometimes I'll look at something and think, oh, why would I want this? But then in a month, I'm like, I do want it, you know? It's a frontier of the arts. Up here, and you can get away with a lot.
Ah, country life. You know, I once bet a horse at 5-1. Didn't come in till 11:30. I'm Arthur Black. Hope you enjoyed Weird Homes. We'll see you next time.